Welcome, folks, to another episode of the Deadliest Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Matt Davis, here with my co-hosts.
Craig Taylor.
Lucas.
You already know what it is. And we got Brendan inning the ones and twos over there. How you doing, Brendan? Yeah, thumbs up. So today's just a casual episode. We're going to do the season 2 wrap up, just talk about some of our favorite moments, some surprises from the season, and of course, the much anticipated vote on best expert.
Yeah.
So I know you guys watching at home, every YouTube video you watch, the guy or the gal is always yelling at you and telling you, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Listen, when I tell you, you should comment on this video, I'm being sincere about it, because these are like personal opinion questions. So, you know, when I ask like favorite episode of season 2, like if you feel like answering, I'm actually genuinely curious to see like what people's favorite like weapons were or moments or experts or something like that. So if you're watching, you know, feel free to leave us some stuff. We usually try to get down there and interact with you guys. I mean, all of us do. So
Also smash that like button.
yeah, smash. Okay. So let's get into it. Let's start off pretty broad. Gentlemen, season 2 is in the books. It seems like just yesterday we were finishing season 1. Do we have some overall thoughts on season 2?
If I could just say, season 2 got me fucked up.
Fair enough. So overall thoughts on season 2, like what did it do better than season 1? What did it do worse? I mean, what are some of our thoughts on it, Craig?
Well, the way I would characterize season 2 is it's definitely an evolution of season 1. You know, season 3, as we'll see, goes in a totally different direction, kind of tries to reinvent the show for better or for worse. But season 2 really is kind of an extension of season 1. There's obviously a lot of overlap. The kills work the same. So I really see that as like an evolution.
It seems like they got a better budget, too.
Better budget, for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of negative, I don't think this is necessarily their fault. I think they sort of ran out of warriors.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And so some of the warrior selection is questionable, and it just kind of gets more questionable. But you think a show like Deadliest Warrior would have an infinite amount of warriors, but really there's not. So,
well, you know, I have some thoughts, but Lucas, did you have anything to add there besides how fucked up season 2 got you?
Whenever I went into this season, I think I was just like, oh, I don't like season 2 as much as season 1. And I think it's just because season 1 had so many of those like big name fights that we remember, like, you know, Spartan versus Ninja and
Green Beret.
Yeah, Green Beret, like the big ones that we talked about in our friend group. But season 2 was a lot better than I remember. Some of my favorite warriors were in this season, like Jesse James. I really like the Zondes. Some of my favorite weapons, I think is it the glaive that they like just obliterate the skull with?
The mace.
Like some of the coolest tests. Some really good memes from this season.
You know what was actually got better? Forgot to mention the reenactments.
Yeah, they like story wrote some of them too.
Yeah, fucking CIA versus KGB is like a mini movie.
Yeah.
You know,
That won a couple Oscars. some Emmys.
Yeah.
As I got the privilege to pick apart most of the Sims this season, yeah, there was definitely some progression of attempt at storytelling. Even just, you know, I mentioned I'm on the Jesse James one. There's like a little bit of like a weird scenery change where it's like a bank robbery and...
Yeah, they're in like a history museum.
Ah, that's what it was.
Yeah. And like Jesse James' gang is robbing like some of the old money that's there because it's like regular money for him.
Yeah, that's right. And there's like that mock jail cell that it ends in. And
yeah.
And they start, I don't want to get too deep, but like, it's like they're self-aware where, you know, season 1 is just 2 dudes fighting in a field. It really feels like you just drop 2 NPCs and they're just fighting. Yeah. Versus season 2, there's like a story and it tells a story without any narration. It's not like the narrator's like, Jesse James' gang is going to be attempting to steal the like, you know what I mean? It's you kind of clue yourself into what's going on. And I think that it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think especially in season 2, the firearms testing is not great still, but it's a little bit of an improvement over season 1. Some of the tests are a little bit better.
They add like random arbitrary things, but it does shake it up and make it.
Well, they're more fun, I think, is what I
Yeah.
mean by that. Like the firearms test, we get to see it fired out of, an old like Model T, and we get to see some, with like GSG9 and stuff. We get to see some
Badass.
actual like drills, and with like Israeli commando versus is that SWAT?
Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL. That's
Yeah.
what it is. I have like short-term memory sometime with these episodes, but like we get to see some actual like weapons drills, testing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit better than in the first season.
I would say season 1, just personal bias for me, like all of these have nostalgia for me, but like season 1, because I had that freaking DVD, I've seen all those episodes so many times. I know them front to back, and there's a couple season 2 episodes that are like that, but there are some episodes, I talk about it when we do the pod, that I'm like, I have not watched this since it aired, and that was interesting in itself to review an episode like that, but obviously I'm not going to have as many memories or connections to something like that. And to you guys' point about like, a little bit of better budget or production value, like there's still plenty of cheesy and like cheap looking stuff to poke fun at. I think one thing in that vein is like season 1 comes off as like someone pitched this idea and Spike cleared it, and they gave them like, maybe I don't know how much they got, but like a bare bones budget. And they're working like off the cuff. Like you slowly see the evolution on season 1. Like there's times where one warrior has 5 weapons, another has 4.
I was watching the pilot to find footage for the last edit I did, and Max's sim computer is just a laptop.
Yeah, yeah. And I honestly think that like slapdash, like quickly put together, learning on the fly, I'm sure that's not as fun for the people making the show, but it does add like a certain flavor and charm, in my opinion. Then like, every single episode has 4 weapons versus 4 weapons, and they're probably going to try to make it 2-on-2. That everything is following like a certain formula or format. So it was just some of my thoughts about season 1 versus 2. I guess the last thing I would add is I feel like there are no bad episodes of season 1. Now, obviously, that is subjective.
I thought you were going to say season 2, and I was going to go, ugh.
No, that is subjective. Season 2, I feel like there is not a ton, but there's a few episodes that I really did not like and like don't want to rewatch. Like it was funny because we'll vote on our favorite episodes and our least favorite episodes, but I remember in our season 1 wrap up, our least favorite episode was Mafia Yakuza.
Yeah.
And it was unanimous. We all picked that. And I think about how often do we quote that episode? How many memes and good stuff is from that episode? And
because how many other good episodes are in that season?
Yeah.
That ends up being the bottom episode, even though it's not that bad.
You're just kind of like, it's a little forgettable. Season 2, I think there's like maybe like 2 or 3. I didn't, think about it too hard, but
yeah,
I know for sure there's like a couple where I'm like, I could do without this one. And that might be a product of them maybe running out of Warriors Craig, but I honestly felt more like it was them not executing properly on certain matchups. And, I'll talk about that more, I guess, as we go on here.
Something interesting here too for us, if we're counting the Back for Blood episode, it has been 9 months since we started season 2. So by the time this is edited and put out, it's probably been about 10 months. So we almost took a year to get through season 2.
Wow.
Which is pretty insane if you think about it.
Yeah, that is wild to think about. Because we did do season 2 Back for Blood. Like we had the Halloween costumes where we dressed up as the Warriors. We're going to have to do that again for
season 2.
Yeah, for the season 2 Back.
Yeah, we did.
Who's going to be the Comanche?
Yeah.
I call Jesse James.
Yeah. Well, I think I have it figured out who some of us want to be, but I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah. I quick pause. I'm getting distracted. I was trying to look up my Amazon to see the list, and Sinister Squad is free with ads. Have you ever watched that?
I've never watched Sinister Squad.
That might be next.
But I know that that's like the Asylum, that studio that makes all the bad
knockoff.
movies. Yeah, like
The Sinister Squad pod.
it's the Asylum version of Suicide Squad, which in itself is not that great of a movie. That first Suicide Squad movie.
Stay tuned for the review on the Pretty Good podcast.
The iconic Jared Leto. All right. Well, let's get into this. Favorite episodes. Craig, you want to go first here?
I'm looking through the list.
I was gonna say Craig is like pulling up his phone. I'm like, he's looking up the episodes.
Oh, I'm absolutely have mine up here because there is some more episodes in this season, and I feel like I tend to forget some of the episodes of season 2 already.
It's different. So season 1, there's 9.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, they break down really well in my head in groups of 3, where like you have the first 3 are like the OG, like ancient warriors. And that's like Apache Gladiator, Viking Samurai, and Spartan Ninja, of course. And then the second 3 are like the evolution of gunpowder. Like they have the pirate, then they have the mafia yakuza, and then you get into like modern Green Beret Spetsnaz. And then the back 3 are like the wild cards. It's like Shaolin Maori. You have the 2 named warriors, and then you have like the weird episode where it's 2 terrorist groups fighting each other. So it breaks down really evenly in my mind. And season 2 doesn't do that as well for me. It kind of jumps around a little bit, and it's
There's
more
always
episodes.
something missing.
Yeah,
Like I consider, barring our season 3 rewatch, if something crazy pops out at me, I consider Green Beret Spetsnaz the perfect Deadliest Warrior episode.
yeah. As we have talked about before.
Yeah, it's got everything, and there's not really anything on this list that has everything. Like maybe the experts are lacking. There's no bullshit. The weapons are kind of whatever.
I think there's a couple standouts of season 2.
My immediate ones that I will throw out, I really like the Jesse James episode still. It birthed one of the greatest memes of all time.
Yeah, Stiletto.
And I really like the Zonde episode, which also
dick
birthed
weapons?
Yeah, which birthed a great meme also that they are tactical geniuses.
That is what I wrote down for my favorite episode was Aztec versus Zonde.
The Jaguar.
I know there's a lot of Jaguar fans out there who are a little salty about it, and rightfully so from the things we saw, but honestly, I think it's like a really good episode. Like it's 2 super unique warriors. You get some really cool, unique weapons.
great experts
In it. Wonderfully entertaining experts. I'll say that. Like the Zonde guys are great. You got Coley Mustafa speaks and David Lavera, but is that his name? I feel like I always mess it up.
No, you always say David LaBrava.
Yeah, that's right. I always mess up his...
I think he's like a soap opera actor.
Yeah, but even still, I mean, David is still like an entertaining expert on the episode. So, you know.
So you stand by.
Let's move on. Craig, what's your favorite episode of season 2?
Probably Nazi versus Viet Cong. No, see, that's one. It's not a bad episode, but I really do feel like there's something that's missing. Maybe Vlad. Vlad was pretty entertaining. That might be one of my favorite podcasts that we've had.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just really liked it.
If no one mentioned it, I was going to say Vlad versus Sun Tzu has to be mentioned. I think it's.
As the Sim Master too, that also had, like, going back and rewatching some of our episodes, that had one of the Sims that we laughed the hardest about while I was retelling the story. So that great Sim on that one. So he goes over here where he buried his convenient second set of clothes 100 feet away from where he's camping.
So, yeah, I feel like it had to be mentioned. And there's certain episodes that, like, when we put them out, I don't know, like, aside from statistics, I feel like you can get a vibe, you know, what episodes are people excited to see and what are getting the most traction up front. And I felt like Zonde, Aztec, you guys really seem to like. Roman, Centurion, and Rajput seem to be a hot one. And I will agree that's a good episode. I'm just really salty about the Roman centurion. So, you know, it is what it is.
We don't get a ton of views either. We get like, you know, our group, it's the same guys that keeps coming back all the time, keeping us going. But I mean, you could even tell on some of the episodes which ones people were interested in. They have like double the views of some of the other ones.
Yeah, and the last one I was going to mention was the Vlad one. That seemed like it was really like hot off the press. We had like
a lot
20 some comments.
Yeah,
like,
I sit on there for like the first couple hours. I'll like check it period like every 10 minutes to see like everyone's first comments. And you know, some of those episodes get like 5 comments, but that was like one of those ones where it was like 20 comments like right off the bat, people going back and forth comparing stuff in the like comments, and I was like, I love to see it.
Yeah. On that note, what I do like to see too is if there's, I don't know how to really describe it, but if there's a warrior with a strong like ethnic connection, like if you talk about the Maori. Or I think the Rashford might have had some people. A lot of people will comment and say that I am Maori or I am this. I think someone might have said that they had some link to like the Rajput.
Someone was from ancient Sparta, I think.
Stop it.
I'm trying to be genuine. No, it's cool to see, you know, those comments because you get, you know, like we can only do so much with our week's worth of research, sometimes nights worth of research, and I think it helps to get that kind of authentic perspective. So that I like to see, because that's even after publishing, I guess people are just Googling Maori and then they check it out. So I like to see that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool too. So to me, those are some of the standouts. And, you know, I don't want to be negative for very long, but I think it is worth mentioning. There are a couple stinkers this season, and I would say, do you guys have a least favorite episode? Let's keep it at that. I feel like
I won't even call it least favorite. I'll call it like least memorable episode in a way. I might even like need a minute to think about it.
Yeah,
honestly.
I would say for me it was really easy. Personally, I think Alexander the Great versus Attila the Hun is a real letdown.
I could see that.
I feel like it's just. I was really excited for it because these are two really interesting people from history, and I feel like they just fumble the bag so hard. Like there's so much botched research. The weapons are really goofy. Like the ballista versus the Scythian axe. This show doesn't need to make perfect sense, but even that is like, how the hell do you... What's got the edge, and why is Alexander bringing that to a one-on-one? Like it just is so weird. They mess up his armor. They do a weird 3-on-3 fight, and in that fight, do you remember one guy just disappears? Like one of Alexander's guys disappears, like doesn't get killed or whatever. He vanishes from the episode.
He was intimidated.
Yeah, I guess. And I thought that one was I don't like that one. Aside from being personally butthurt by it, I just was like, this is a really disappointing one. A lot of potential that just bag was fumbled on. I feel like
CIA versus KGB falls a little bit flat for me.
Yeah. It's definitely a different kind.
It's a different episode though, so like I don't want to like shit on it. Maybe like Ming Warrior versus French Musketeer also. I was like,
I love that episode. That was a surprise for me. That was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
what do you think, Craig?
I don't think any episode stands out and they all have something redeemable. The opposite is also true, where episodes where I don't like them, there's something that I do like. So maybe the expert's great or whatever. I kind of hash that. But I do think of all of them, probably Alexander versus Attila is the weakest.
Yeah.
Where there's not as much kind of great stuff. The experts are all right. Gastrophides.
Do you remember when they test the Z-Ston against the lasso?
Oh.
And it's just like, it's just like the lasso's the most underwhelming test in the world, where they like throw it over the crash test dummy and it falls over, and it's like, ooh, this is not giving this weapon like a good look, really.
Season 2, the season of siege weapons being presented as one-on-one weapons.
Yeah, just bizarre.
Hopefully that doesn't continue into season 3.
I have some things to say about season 3, but
let me reiterate on what I said. I think what it was for me was I researched the French Musketeer, and it was a very difficult warrior to research. There was not much like set in stone history or just any information. And I just remember like not having the greatest time trying to like figure out something to present on the
And
podcast.
I had the opposite experience, I remember.
That's
where
probably why we have different.
researching the Ming warrior was so much fun. And, you know, when I watched that episode for the first time as a kid, of course, I'm just rooting for the warriors that, like, I know. You know, I've heard of the Three Musketeers. I've never heard of the Ming. And by the end of the research, I was like, not even that I needed him to win. I was just like, I was rooting for him because I was like, let's go Ming warrior, baby. I think we shouldn't pass on least favorite without giving the honorable mention to Nazi versus Viet Cong, just for having strange vibes.
Yeah.
I know I'm using the term vibes a lot, but like, I feel like there's no better way to put it than like the episode is just strange. There's a couple episodes like IRA versus Taliban is a weird episode. And I feel like, and coming up in season 3, we'll have Pol Pot versus Saddam Hussein. And I feel like those three are the trilogy of like the awkward episodes. But even then, those other two are like, there's some funny stuff in the episode to like talk about certain experts, certain goofy things with the tests, certain things with the weapons. The Nazi Viet Cong one, I think, just comes off very odd. Like,
there's some 2010 Spike TV cringe like peppered into that episode.
Well, you know what I think it is too? Max, we interviewed him. He's actually on the show. He's a host on the show.
Friend of the show.
We interviewed him, yeah. He touched on this a little bit, but I had asked him about like the vibes on his episode. And he didn't get into super detail, but he said there was some uncomfortability. I just feel like it just comes through. Like that's what that is. It's like people on set, they're like, should we be doing this? And then like Gary Tarpinian's sitting there and he's like,
he's like, this will bring in the cash because it's controversy.
The experts get a little too into their roles and it just creates some strange moments.
Nazi like uniform.
Yeah, with just all the stuff stripped off. And
it's just like Wilhelm too.
I do not remember
that episode. What that episode needed, honestly, like I guess there's other ways you could have made it work, I'm sure, but like in my opinion, that episode needed. If you're gonna have the Nazis, they need to be the villain character, and you need like a face character.
Yeah, but they were the hero.
I know they win at the end of the episode, and it's so it makes it even more strange. Where you're like, oh, cool.
It also didn't help we had Austin on.
Oh, come on. We love you, Austin.
What a loser.
All right, well, moving on from negative vibes back into the rest of the show, which is all
stay posy,
having fun, still posy. Shout out.
Sunrise Skater Kids.
Yeah, shout out Sunrise Skater Kids. I wanted to ask this biggest surprise for you guys in season 2. Was there anything you didn't expect? I think we've already touched on it a little bit, but there's something you didn't expect about this season that was there a weapon that was really cool? Was there an episode you thought, oh, this will be lame, but it turned out to be a little more exciting than you
I touched on it already. The glaive exploding the skulls.
I think it's the mace, right?
The mace. Is it called the glaive or whatever?
Glaive is like
a glaive is like a spear.
That's right. Yeah. Short-term memory.
But the glaive is in that episode that the Mongol does have.
The dude with the long name, he's like,
oh, okay, I remember that because that's the episode that just came out very recently, but was really filmed like November last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why my memory's a little.
If you can't tell while watching Comanche versus Mongol, yes, that's why your memory's a little fuzzy on it. The glaive was like the Mongol spear weapon. And
that's
the mace is like the big club that's like exploding the skulls and stuff.
Yeah, I was surprised by Ming. I saw the episode description and I was like, man, who gives a fuck? Like, and I'm even as a kid, I think I even said this on the pod. I'm pretty sure I saw, like, I missed it, and you guys were like, I was like, what was the episode last night? And you guys were like, oh, it was Ming versus Musketeer. And I'm like, all right, I don't need to watch that.
Right.
But I liked it. I liked the reenactment. I thought the experts were pretty good. I thought the grenade test was funny. So that episode I enjoyed more than I thought I would.
Biggest surprise of season 2 for me, honestly, I think was the fact that a machete can cut through a t-shirt. The Somali pirate episode where I argued that the Somali pirate
that was another hot one. People really were into that episode.
I like that episode. I think I went into it liking that episode already, and I was like, this is gonna be a good one.
It is a good one, as they say.
The final kill of the Sim with an RPG.
Yeah, the reenactment was good. You had, what was his name?
I'm terrible with the expert names, so you gotta go to Matt.
No,
for that.
Michael Corleone Blanco.
Yeah. Pure Blanco. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out. Sponsorship coming soon. I would say biggest surprise for me, like in general, there's a lot of episodes that I remembered pretty well about season 2, and then some that I hadn't seen since they aired. And I was really worried that, okay, all these ones I remember are the good ones, and then like half of this season is going to be like bad or boring. But coming back and watching it now, I found in a lot of cases the opposite was true. Like there were a lot of episodes that I knew about that I thought, this one's all right. And some of these ones like Persian versus Celt, KGB versus CIA, Ming versus Musketeer was always kind of my go-to punchline. I did pick on that episode a lot because I kind of viewed it as like the pinnacle of like, who cares, like just random warrior. But I was shocked, like Comanche versus Mongol too. Like
I would say that would be my pick because I was host on that because I was like, I don't really want to choose either one of these, and I think I say it like 3 times throughout that episode.
The Mongol.
I wish I would have picked like a warrior because these guys were fun.
Well, you know what too,
those episodes all turned out to be like real interesting, and I was eating my words, especially on Ming versus Musketeer. I know not everybody here likes it, but I really liked that episode and thought it was pretty good all around. And I was like, I feel so bad for trashing this episode for so long. Like
it was the research on that one. Besides that, it probably was a really good episode. I said glaive like 4 times, so I'm gonna do my official autocorrect. It is the flanged mace. Is the actual weapon. So
I think what's cool about Comanche versus Mongol and Ming versus Musketeer is that you do have an interesting through line or theme. You have early gunpowder, and then you have horseback warriors. And it's unfortunate that the sim can't really represent that, so it kind of feels pointless. But there is some thought behind the matchups, which I imagine if the sim was more sophisticated could have been really interesting. But at least they're not like totally random.
An episode
it seems like it
that I did like a little bit, but I also simultaneously it's a very flawed episode, but is the Navy SEAL versus Israeli commando.
Yeah.
We get to see some very good weapons handling in that episode between, when they do the pistol test with the SIG and the Glock. Like, you could tell that these guys actually know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And they use the M4, the Colt Commando, and we get the Galil. And, like, it's some decent firearms testing for once in that episode. But it does have the unfortunate knife test, which is pretty cringe, but
come on,
the recon one,
that's the most legendary moment of season 2.
You can't call that cringe. Recon one knife, probably the most legendary test ever.
Yeah, and that segues us into my next question, which was favorite weapon / favorite weapon test.
Recon one.
I have one knife. I have a few. I know you've already listed the flanged mace test, which is a good one.
Yeah.
As far as like favorite weapon, you got to go with the Kapinga because it has a big penis. It's got a big penis coming off.
And there's that screenshot where Dorian is just like examining, and there's just a big dick in his face.
And that one shot that lands perfectly where it hits here and the penis is sticking out.
The dummy has like wood.
Love the Kapinga. I thought the Kondo was cool, even if the test was a little goofy. And
Qatar, pretty cool.
the cuts. No, I can only go so far with the Rajput. You'll get your turn. And my two favorite weapon tests were definitely the Killage, which was so much fun, and you gotta say the Cold Steel Recon one, where Rob Roy just like goes insane.
Fantastic test, really dumb weapon. that's the cringe part. It's just like a folding knife, and it breaks on that test.
Yeah,
the tip breaks off.
Breaks the Tonto point to pierce body armor. Craig, any thoughts?
That's like the best. You can't top that.
Yeah. The Killage test is a lot of fun too, though.
It's cool. I do unironically like the Qatar test.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to like mentally go through all of them. Those are two that stand out.
The Nest of Bees is fun. Nest of Bees is a fun weapon to watch, even if it is not necessarily that effective. It is cool to watch in slow motion, all the little rocket arrows.
I was just doing a totaling up right here too. I believe, unlike season 1, I'm double checking my math here. I think we only see one sling in all of season 2.
That we see 2.
Is there a second one?
The Aztec has a sling and the Celt has a sling as well.
But significantly less than season 1, where it feels like it's in every episode.
I don't know. I think the Gladiator has a sling. Here we are, like just side to mid episode. Has a sling. I think Gladiator has a sling. No, Shaka Zulu has that spit of poison, which is like the dumb weapon on there. I think there's only one. There might only be one in season 1, but there is the slingshot that the IRA.
Oh yeah.
Where it's child's play turned deadly.
Yeah, it's bad.
You also mentioned, Lucas, the Tommy gun test out of the the old timey car. What is Jeff says like a hit never looked this good.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on season 2, guys? Like any other things you wanted to talk about before we? I have one more question before we get to the top experts list.
Did we do
just a casual episode? This episode is not going to be that long.
Did we do least favorite weapon?
No, you want to talk about the sling?
It is not the sling. I cannot remember. I'm looking it up. What's the pole with the hand on the end of it?
Zwa.
The Zwa. That's what it is.
Sun Tzu's Zwa.
Least favorite weapon, perhaps, of season 2.
Rest in peace to Sun Tzu. Just getting bodied in the episode and then getting bodied in the comment section. Just no fans. Just like everybody. Someone refers to Vlad the Impaler as Daddy Vlad in our comment section, which I thought was really, really fun.
The Zwa, it goes up against the halberd, which is or halberd, which is such a better weapon and like one of the greatest weapons in history too. I feel like that's a very quick and underappreciated test. They could have done a lot more to showcase that weapon. I think on a serious note, that is like a weapon we should see. Do we see that in season 3 at all?
I think we do.
I think that's what I think.
I think Hernan Cortez or Ivan the Terrible has a helmet.
Okay, I could have swore we weren't done seeing it, but that is like one of the most iconic warfare weapons throughout like thousands of years of history. And like when it finally shows up on Deadliest Warrior, we see it for like 30 seconds, if even that. So maybe season 3, my memory's not great.
They call the Knights poleaxe a halberd in season 1.
Yeah, but
it's a little bit
not,
of that. Yeah. But it's I get what you're saying when we finally get like a real one.
But you think such an iconic weapon?
It's because they looked at those 2 weapons. They were like, we already know what's getting edge here. So,
but we got like 10 minutes with the exploding cigar.
Yeah,
oh, dude, that weapon was awesome. That was so funny.
That was one of the funnier episodes. The little exploding, like us during that podcast trying to surmise how it would be used in the sim. Like he'd light this exploding cigar, throw it at somebody, or you'd leave it laying around, like assuming the sim has like rooms or tables or something. You would like leave it in there burning, and some guy just comes walking up, some KGB agent, and he's like, "Oh."
I still always think about what Lucas said. It's probably the funniest thing anyone's ever said in the podcast, in my opinion, when they're talking about, is like, Lucas was like, there's a 5-minute fuse. You smoke this for 4 minutes, 59 seconds, you're totally fine. I think about that all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just had a memory come back to me from season 2
Brain blast
of my least favorite weapon. Something we have not mentioned yet on this recap. The mechanical landmine. That gets my vote for not only the worst weapon of season 2, I'm going to say that is my vote for worst weapon in Deadliest Warrior so far.
Wow. Worst weapon in Deadliest
The dumbest
Warrior.
thing. I would take a sling over a mechanical landmine because at least the sling might function.
I get what you're saying. It's kind of like, is mechanical landmine even real? Would that thing even really work?
Not at all, boy.
Because, you know, they set it up like a little trap, but it's so obvious that like, something's buried under there.
I went off on that episode.
Yeah.
I was so pissed that that was even a thing. And I remember the first line that I said to you, you were like, I'm going to be covering that. And I was like, wait, tell me, did the show make up the term mechanical landmine? And you're like, pretty much, yeah.
I will say maybe my vote for worst weapon. I might be forgetting something because there's a couple that come to mind, but the spit of poison that they gave Shaka Zulu that like single-handedly lost him that fight.
I will take that over the mechanical landmine.
No kills.
At least,
Or the ninja's black eggs.
you know, or if I have to use the mechanical landmine, give me the spit of poison so I could just drink it.
Actually, it's gonna done it out of the way.
You can kill your target from a mile away, dude.
So, any last thoughts on season 2? Well, gentlemen, are we looking forward to season 3? I will go first. Unlike season 2, where I went into every episode cold, I am going through and watching some season 3 stuff ahead of time. And you know, all these years I've been sort of trashing season 3 and saying how bad it is. And there is some goofy matchups, don't get me wrong. I must say, my first impressions after watching like 3 episodes, I was like, this might be like the best season of Deadliest Warrior. Like, I was doing like a 180. I was like, this is like, I'm really enjoying this. And it's not that it has the charm that 1 and 2 do, and that it's like kind of stupid, you know, but like the production value is upped a lot. They have a host. And I think the biggest thing is that the weapon tests are like, they spend a lot more money on them. Like they're a lot more intricate, and
Do they reuse the gel torsos?
not that I could tell. I mean, I'm not going to stand by that. But like not Green Beret, Ranger versus North Korean Special Ops, you know, we'll get to that episode obviously, but the gun test in that with the M4 and the AK is like, they have like a little kill house set up, and they have Tim Kennedy on there running the M4, and it's really cool. Like Tim Kennedy empties like 3 rounds into a mannequin, and it's like the grouping is like this, and you can watch it in slow motion as it's going in there. And I was like, that is like cooler than the previous M4 tests have always just been like, shoot at a pig or a ballistic gel sitting there. And I don't know, they put a lot more theater into season 3, and I would say the biggest downgrade is just that you know, no Max Geiger. They replace him with the traitor Robert Daly.
Yeah.
So over to you guys. Are you guys looking forward to season 3?
No Max Geiger.
I know that's a big strike.
I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could carry on.
He's just upset because he's actually talked to Max Geiger.
Yeah, a friend of the show.
Yeah, from the show, actually.
Perhaps I could find the strength to carry on.
Well, I'll say this. I was not looking forward to season 3 at all. until you had said that, because you'd mentioned that previously that you kind of like season 3.
No, I don't want to hype it up
Yeah,
too much because
yeah.
expectation is everything.
Yeah.
Don't jungle cruise it.
I went into it with the bar really low, and I ended up coming out of it being like, this is really good. So I don't want to like set it up here now and have you go in and be like,
You see that? You see my expectations up there?
you go, yo, Matt got me fucked up.
Matt got me fucked up.
Well, so I can say, because I feel like seeing other people online, we just assumed that everybody hated season 3, but I don't think that's actually true. I think it might just be us. So I'm looking forward to having my perception reset.
Yeah.
And maybe coming around to season 3.
I remember our interview with L. May, and he was, even like off camera, we were talking to him about some stuff. And if we threw a dig at like season 3, he was like, what do you guys not like about season 3? And I was thinking about that going into it. I was, watching the episodes. I'm like, he's kind of right. Like, there is no real reason I didn't like this. Like, maybe it was just because of the format change. And you know what else it probably was, guys, is that I was a little older at that point. And so I wasn't old enough yet to like the show like I do now, but I was too old to like it how I did when it first came out. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like... I always bring up WWE in relation to Deadliest Warrior. Like when you're a kid and you watch WWE unironically, and then there's like a middle period of your life where you're like, that's fake bullshit, fuck that show. And you get to be an adult in your late 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and you pop on WWE and you're like, this shit is funny as hell. Like,
back then I'm like, season 3, it kind of sucks. I play Dark Magician in defense mode.
Exactly. And I remember hating it for like unironic reasons, being like, well, this wasn't tested, very well. And I think that's very silly. But, when I go into it now, I'm like, this is cool. And the pretense that the sim is real is completely dropped in season 3. Like, they don't even try to hide it. They're like, they like obscure the weapon totals. They're like, it's a certain percentage at this range and a certain percentage at this range or whatever. Which is nice because then I don't have to worry about any of that bullshit. I don't have to try and pick apart like what's real. Why did this weapon get the edge, but this weapon outscored it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even have to worry about it because I don't have to care.
I'll say goodbye to season 2 by saying Jesse James was my favorite of season 2, but who I'm looking forward to in season 3. Right off the bat, I think we have a banger out the gate. We do. George Washington versus Napoleon Bonaparte.
The most anticipated episode of season 3.
I am really looking forward to that episode.
Arguably of the show. Like, I feel like Green Beret Spetsnaz among our friend group had a lot of anticipation. After that, I feel like George Washington, Napoleon Bonaparte has had the most hype. And I feel like that's the same in our comments. Like, among our fan base, it feels like to me that one's got a lot of hype going on.
Yeah, I think Theodore Roosevelt and Lawrence of Arabia might be fun this time around.
Yeah.
And there is... I refuse to say the name of it until we get to that moment. But episode 10 of season 3, I will never mention the name of. I'm looking forward to that episode. That's going to be a pretty big finale.
That's going to be our finale. That's wow.
I will say I'm excited for George Washington because we actually have booked a historical expert.
And we actually do. Yes. We do have he does have a history degree. That is true.
So that's going to be exciting. Might have read one of his books.
I doubt it.
I'm going to knock on wood, look forward to in season 3, perhaps some, maybe a little bit of a different set, maybe a little bit different quality.
Yeah. I don't want to show too much about how the meat is packed, but I think we're looking to try and get a different camera and like up the set.
Yeah. Just keep everything improving.
Switch it up for season 3 a little bit. I kind of want to get some like costumes and stuff. I want to be like dressed as Napoleon, like for the episode.
I'm going to come in playing a penny whistle.
Craig will be dressed as a Saddam Hussein.
That is, they had to get a cringe episode in like once per season, and we do have the unfortunate episode 5.
We'll get Dan in here in a little Khmer Rouge outfit, pajama set.
Honestly, we've had some distasteful episodes of Deadliest Warrior. This could almost take the cake as the worst
They're
episode.
not warriors.
No,
They're just there to cause the controversy.
when we get to that episode, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but all jokes aside, obviously we're not going to dress up for that episode. But yeah, I do want to be dressed up as like Napoleon, or like, I think it would be funny to have someone come in dressed up as Theodore
you
Roosevelt.
should be dressed as Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh,
that'd be a fun twist.
That'd be a switch up, dog. Yeah. All right. Well, putting season 2 and season 3 to rest. Like I said, guys, favorite episode, biggest surprise, favorite weapons,
Favorite warrior.
I mean, let us know in the comment section below. Woo. I guess I didn't ask favorite warrior, did I? I asked favorite episode.
What about expert too?
We kind of got it. Well, we're getting to expert now. But your favorite warrior is Jesse James, obviously.
I mean, I brought the hat, so I'm going to go with Jesse James.
Did you have a favorite warrior from season 2, Craig?
Zonde, close second, though.
Probably the Rajput, right?
I'm having intrusive thoughts. So my brain's like, say Nazi, say Nazi. It's not actually how I think. I was like,
yeah. You were like, what's the biggest troll I can do right now?
Yeah, probably Rajput. Rajput's cool.
Yeah, that was like the only warrior when we were signing up for episodes. Craig, you were like, Lucas had a few, I had a few, and Craig was like, just put me on whatever. And and the only one I think you requested was like Rajput. So.
Yeah.
Who is the real deadliest warrior of season 2? We actually found out in our copy of the official sim. It was the Mongol. You can go ahead and watch that if you want.
Yep. Yeah. Check out our sim video. I'd say my favorite warrior was probably Zonde, like I've mentioned before. Not a surprise. But
yeah, such a great warrior.
Yeah, just really entertaining, really memorable. So. And for the Aztec fans, I would say the Aztec's not far behind him. Like,
oh no, it's just a fantastic episode all around because it's 2 of like some of the best warriors from this season.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Last segment of the show, just like season 1 wrap up, we got to determine the top expert of season 2. So,
here he comes, top expert of season 2.
So. For those of you at home, after each episode, I ask everybody in the room, including the guest on that episode, is there a warrior, or is there an expert you would like to nominate for top expert? And if only one person says it, like, I'll add them to the list. And we had 13 episodes, which means 13 times 4.
Yeah.
Not using my calculator app right now. 52 experts total. Out of the 52, we had 11 make the top expert list, 11 nominees. So I'm going to go through them and try to...
You know what we should do? It'd be kind of fun.
What's that?
We should do versus matchups and then and then whoever's cooler advances just to make it easier to filter.
Okay. Well, we'll have to make that up on the fly here. But do you want to do that before I read out the names and all the memes that go with them? Or...
Yeah, do that, and then at the end, then we can rank them.
Because if you guys remember some memes that I forgot, because obviously I didn't go through every single episode and like rewatch it all the way through for this list, but I know I tried to write it down as I went so I could remember them all. But our first nominee was from episode 3, Johnny Lou Frotto.
That's Lew space.
Yes. Johnny space Lew space Fratto.
Rest in peace.
Johnny Lou Frotto. Johnny Lou Frotto, I was like, what do I write about him? It's like just himself is like a really amazing meme. He gives a rat smile to a ballistic gel. He has the line, I like the sound it makes, click, and he like clicks open the stiletto. He gets pissed off about the pistol whip. He's like, it's a pistol, use it as a pistol.
Which is a weapon? That should have been the worst weapons, is the pistol whip.
Yeah.
Not really a Johnny line, but when J.W. Wiseman says to Johnny, I didn't know you could run. I think you could run. And of course, who could forget in the aftermath where Johnny Lufrado refers to the Zondes as the zombies?
Johnny? I'm going with the zombies just because this guy is going with the Aztecs. I got to win something here.
Little did he know.
Yeah.
Yes. Who will win between the Aztec and the Zonde? And the Joey Dillon Joey Dillon picks the Aztecs, and Johnny, just despite him, is like picks the other guy, but he doesn't know who it is. And he's like, the zombies or whatever. So those are some of the Johnny Lufrado lines. Did I forget any that you guys can think of?
No,
he does a little drive-by in the car.
Just the way he dresses.
He's just overall. What was his book called? We Googled the book he wrote about his life.
Oh, it was like When I Die something.
Yeah, here. Johnny Lufrado's book. Now that I'm dead, here's the real dirt.
Postmortem or book.
What a legend. Rest in peace. Our second nominee comes from Aztec versus Zombie.
Freudian slip.
The zombies or whatever.
The Aztecs versus the Zondes. Koli Mustafa speaks. First off, his name is a sentence, as Craig pointed out. And Koli really does have some of the most memorable lines from this. He is the genesis of the tactical geniuses meme.
Tactical
genius. Zondes with tactical geniuses. He is the origin of Nim Nim, Nim Nim, Nim Nim.
Which
he
happened to turn out to be an insult.
Right. Which he caps off by saying, fierce.
Fierce.
Fierce. And then, of course, who can forget when he puts his mouth in the blood fountain, when the blood is shooting out of the neck, and Dorian's like squeezing the veins so it's like fountaining up, and Koli gets right in there.
Can you show us again?
You like that?
Yeah, Craig, can we get a zoom on that?
I'll work on it.
Slow-mo. Next up comes from the Roman Centurion versus Rajput episode. We have Terence Rotolo. Terence, I feel like, mostly gets an honorable mention because he voices Frank West in Dead Rising, which, was a Xenu classic back in the day. A lot of Xenu members loved that game. We have the meme that Craig brought up that Terence is wearing a very whack fit. He's got a really goofy ass outfit on. And maybe Terrence's most memorable line is just when he goes, "This man is dead."
Yeah, there's something else he said that felt like a Frank West quote. I don't remember what it was.
Maybe.
I might have been in it.
Obviously, if you guys remember some of the memes about these experts too, throw them in the comments, because this is a casual episode. We're just
and if you like Dead Rising, leave a comment.
Also, if you want to win the signed copy of Deadliest Warrior Season 2,
right?
Where's the Season 2 DVD?
The Pirate Bay download.
we should make rip a Season 2 DVD, but put it in the generic GameStop case for the cover.
Is that
kids on?
Yeah, has that kid on the front.
Our fourth expert comes from the Somali Pirate episode. Our fourth and fifth expert come from Somali Pirate versus Medellin. We have Abdi Ali, who shoots really well from the boat. He doesn't even have that many memes associated. It's just that he does the AK test from the boat that goes pretty well. He makes really sound arguments, and overall the consensus seemed to be that he just seemed really knowledgeable and not annoying, was the quotes I ended up writing down here. So and then of course, shining star of the Medellin cartel episode, Michael Corleone Blanco. What do we have? We got the Mangian meme that we developed this season, Craig, where you noticed his pronunciation of Medellin.
Shout out to El Alamein providing context.
Yes. We figured out that Michael has his own clothing line, which we mentioned earlier, Pure Blanco. Of course, referencing
His last name.
cocaine. He looks like Pitbull. We have the wonderful moment where I wrote in parentheses, watch for exact quote. I did not do that. There's the moment where he's like talking about the mini Uzi. He's like, I could be walking around with this in my pocket. And he's like, hey, how's it going? Bang, you're dead. That's a really funny moment. Because he like hesitates kind of when he says it. It's like he forgets his line, you know. And then of course he gives the ballistic gel a Colombian necktie. It's just like, does every ballistic gel have a tongue in it? Obviously not. Like,
It's almost like that was staged.
they definitely gave that to him to like shove up there. And the next experts don't come until, oh, well, I say this like I know this episode might have been right afterward. We have two experts from Celt vs. Persian Immortal. We got Francis Brebner, and it's not really Spencer Deneen, but Brendan nominated Spencer Deneen's hair, as Brendan cited it as a inspiration for his own hair, which is beautiful and luscious, just like Spencer Deneen's. Now, Francis Brebner, obviously man built like a tank, professional Scottish strongman. I have that he is a mountain of a man. And we have a couple good Jeff lines in relation to Francis, where he's like, Francis, these arms, man, are doing some work. And then we have the second mention where Jeff gets a little horny on Maine for Francis, where he goes,
Little too creepy.
he's like, his arm, especially when you got someone whose arms are bigger than most people's legs. We have the legendary Berta Club test, which I guess we should have mentioned in best tests, but
where he just obliterates
they just have skulls hanging from the ceiling, and Francis is just going with a club and just smashing them.
a massive man just hitting things with a club.
There's blood all over the floor, and of course Francis refers to the Persian arrows as a toothpick. I think he pulls it out of the target and he breaks it over his knee, and he's like, pick my teeth with it. We have we nominated Stas from the KGB episode. We wrote that he is incomprehensible at times. Can't understand what he's saying. He played Vladimir Putin on the Netflix show The Comey Rule, which is really funny, and starred in The Americans, which gets name dropped about 1,000 times in that episode. So by me, I believe there's a specific scene where Stas is like, maybe you can remember, Craig, you like replayed it a couple times for us, where he's saying something and we're like, did he say something about his dick? And he's saying like, I got
Blow
one
up your hole with bowl inside or something like that.
You think you can do better?
Sure. I can show you a weapon that will blow not only your head off, but your balls with hole inside.
blow your balls off or something. So Stas, legend. Speaking of legends, both Vlad the Impaler experts got nominated. I'll say Vaslav first. For his general goofy oafishness, and he's really fun to watch do the killage test because he looks like he's 8 feet tall and he's just cutting up this pig. And he actually does look like a vampire. So, and we also saw like his Wikipedia says he was born in like 1812 or something.
His Google.
His Google result. So he might be actually a vampire. And then of course, not to bury the lead, but Bram Gallagher, right? Bram Gallagher, we have one of the most legendary experts of season 2. We have the hold it steady now. Almost too many memes to really name, to be honest with you. He's going really hard in the acting. I hope it's acting, who knows, but he's very much in character. We have hold it steady now as they're putting the stake up the ballistic gel's ass. We have him raging with the war spike on the end of the hand cannon. We have the line, he's going to shove a stake up his ass, in reference to Sun Tzu. And then, of course, we have the Mandela Effect in the aftermath with the "I'm a real nice guy once you get to know me," which that's more of a personal one for us. I mean, that I cannot believe that I like have a vivid, a clear as day memory of that man saying that, and I am convinced I have been shifted into an alternate reality. And then his guttural yes before the halberd test, if you remember. Are you ready? Yeah. Wonderful. We only have 2 more. Nominee number 10 was Joaquin Gonzalez on Team Comanche. We have the notable meme, "The Comanches have spirit."
No, he didn't say that, I don't think.
Was that another Mandela Effect?
Yeah, that was.
He has a line similar to it, though, I think.
See, I was looking in the edit, and I remember that was the Mandela Effect that we saw. He never said that.
God damn, my brain is like decaying on the spot here. But I have some other stuff written down. He's an exceptional horseback rider. He does well in the tests and is really knowledgeable about his warrior. So good stuff. And he's got that wonderful Comanche yell, which I'm not going to do right now, but it's pretty cool.
Ah,
right? Yeah, not
that one.
The opposite of the
Right, can you play it?
Ah.
I don't. It's on the other.
Okay. And then our final nominee number 11. I was trying to cap it at 10, but you can't keep Rob Roy off the list. Former Navy SEAL, an actual expert with a ton of knowledge, does really well, does some good shooting, but let's be honest, the Cold Steel Recon 1 knife test. Perhaps the only man to single-handedly prevent the show giving an edge against their warrior. You know for a fact the producers picked those weapons and were like, all right, so we can give these 2 to the Israelis, and then we'll give these 2 to the Navy SEAL. And after that test, they were like, fuck. Okay, I guess let's just call it like even, And so you end up with this weird thing where it's like 2, and then there's a tie, and then there's 1, and that wasn't planned. Like Rob Roy influenced that to happen. He made it happen.
Rob does that. They all look at each other and go, "That test got me fucked up."
And of course, we love you, Max, but not one of Max's best moments where he comes in after the Rob Roy doesn't. I'm guessing they don't let you carve the turkey at Thanksgiving. It kind of adds to that scene though, because anytime you're watching a clip of it, you always get Max coming in at the end and saying that. And it's like, God damn it. So,
who's the guy with the hair that was nominated?
William Spencer.
That was Spencer.
Hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to make these matchups fair,
you can kind of, if you wanted to do 5 matchups 1-on-1, Spencer Deneen can probably get eliminated.
I was going to say, can we just give him Great Hair Award of Season 2?
Yeah, we just want to give him a shout out.
Brendan, do you approve that?
Congratulations, Spencer. Here is your Great Hair Award for Season 2.
I would also say Joaquin's got some wonderful hair too. He's got some beautiful hair, but right?
How's that matchup look?
Right, yeah.
Here he comes, greatest hair of Season 2.
All right. So completely prepared ahead of time and not on the fly while you were reading them.
Right.
I have the official matchups that I tried to divvy out as fair as I could in about 30 seconds.
Now, to add context, for season 1, we merely just voted on our top 3.
Yeah.
We each picked 3, and then we had to pick like 1 out of there, or we saw who got the most votes. But let's do this head to head. Let's try it out because, let's be honest, who we think is the best expert doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. I tried to put heavy hitters against heavy hitters. So there's going to be big name versus big name.
In the comments, let us know your top experts. So,
all right.
Anyways.
Our very first matchup is going to be a doozy. Is Johnny L.E.W. Frotto versus Vaslav.
Oh, to me, it's Johnny all the way. Vaslav, I would say, just gets put on there based on looks. He doesn't necessarily do too many funny things. Johnny's an icon. Johnny's...
Yeah, I
Shall we give him the award for best of season 2 now? Or
I actually think there's some competition, although I may or may not have written like a top 3, and Johnny might not. He might be in there, actually, but
I'll go with Johnny.
I gotta vote Johnny.
All right.
You agree, Lucas?
I do. I will.
We got nice odd numbers.
This is like picking Back for Blood. Yeah. Like the
Coley Mustafa Speaks versus Francis Brebner. 2 heavy hitters there.
wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna vote Coley Mustafa Speaks. Tactical geniuses, Nim carrying all the way. More iconic.
The meme potential is a lot higher. I have to agree.
Yeah.
All right. I know what my pick is kind of ahead of time, but I'm not going to tell you guys to influence your picks, but mine was Cooley on that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. The next one
It's gonna be tough.
is Terence Rotolo versus Abdi Ali.
See, Abdi Ali's really got is that AK test versus Terence Rotolo was in Dead Rising.
I tell you what, I'm gonna vote for Abdi Ali, just because he's like one of the few experts on here, unironically, sort of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for Abdi Ali. Craig, I'm guessing you're voting for Frank West, Terence Rotolo.
I voted for Abdi Ali
Yeah, Abdi's moving on.
for kind of the same reason, and also he was on my team, so
Yeah, Abdi's better dressed than Terrence in that. I just
All
thought
right.
Craig was just like in that episode. Craig, you're like, Terrence has the wackest fit I've ever seen. It was
All right.
very early 2000s fashion.
we got Bram Gallagher versus Rob Roy.
Wow,
Wow, that's a final round matchup.
Yeah.
that's like
I tried to like.
two
I feel like
potential
everyone's
top
on a certain
threes.
pedestal, and I tried to put like heavy hitters together and like people who just squeaked on the list together.
You know what? I have these guys neck and neck in my own rankings. I'm gonna give it to Bram. Just because of the multiple memes. Rob Roy is a great expert, and there might not be any more iconic moment than the Recon 1 knife test. But I have to vote for somebody. So I'm gonna vote for Bram because he really does help make that Vlad episode.
I'm gonna deliver my justification in the style of Jeff at the end of an episode. Just like Rob Roy had a great knife test, but Bram, way too many memes to take out the competition. I gotta go with quantity over quality. I'm giving it to Bram.
I went with Bram as well on this.
Yeah, the clean.
Just because, yeah, Rob Roy's test is incredible, but Bram is he's just banging the whole episode, just one cringe line after another.
He really is, and you know, not to go too far ahead, I feel like he is a contender for the top spot. I feel like there's 3 in my mind that are my faves.
All right, we got Joaquin Gonzalez versus Stas.
I'm gonna go Joaquin. You know, Stas is he's up there with Vaslov, and that it's just kind of him that's kind of funny. But I'm gonna go with Joaquin because he seemed very knowledgeable and he was a really good horseback rider. So
Me too.
All right.
he also
That is
gave us
fair consensus.
a great and non-problematic Comanche yell. So that was nice to have.
All right, I will admit I wrote someone twice, so read me down the list one more time. See, there's one person I missed.
So someone who has not been mentioned yet is Michael Corleone Blanco.
Yeah, who's he facing? I originally was going to put him against Francis Brebner, but I remember I changed that at the last minute, and I forgot who I was supposed to put him against.
Johnny, Coley, Terrence, Abdi, Blanco, Francis Brebner, Stas, Bram Gallagher, Vaslov, Joaquin Gonzalez, and Rob Roy. I feel like we named everybody. I feel like you've got everybody on there. There should be 5 matchups of 2 because there should be 10 experts because we set Spencer Deneen aside. Here, you want to take a look at the list. Craig, edit this out.
Well, yeah, we will.
Yeah, what?
I like talking to
How does that not work out?
I like talking to future Craig sometimes. Yeah, if you have 10 guys, you should be able to split
2,
it
3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
into
8,
5
9,
matches
10.
of 2.
How do I have 11?
Did you write Spencer Dineen somewhere?
No, he's not even on there.
Who you must have somebody twice then maybe.
But I've read everything else except Michael Corleone Blanco. Johnny Lufrado, Vaslav, Coley, Francis, Terence, Abdi Ali, Michael Corleone versus nobody, Bram versus Rob, Joaquin versus Stas.
I feel like this is like a mathematical glitch.
That's weird. Why is that not working?
Because you can't divide 5 by 2. Well, we have 10.
There's 10.
10. You divide that into 2 sets of 5. Those 2 5 sets can't be divided by 2.
Well, yeah, that's fine. We're not past the first round yet. It should be 5 people facing you, like 5 versus 5.
So like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
Yeah, it should be 5 sets of 2. So it should work.
Then that would come out to 5, and then you can't set those up by 2.
Yeah, I had something for the next round already.
Yeah. So the next round there's going to be an extra one, but the first round isn't divisible by like it should be 10 is divisible by 2, and we're not seeing that. There's another person that's not on here.
Should be here. Name the guys again.
Johnny
Okay. So let's highlight Johnny.
Vaslav is who he faced. Coley, Mustafa versus Francis. Terence.
Oh, you know what the problem is that we have 11 guys. I didn't number Spencer Dineen. So there is 11 experts. There's not 10.
Okay. I thought you meant there was like 11 including him.
That's not why it's not working out. So maybe we can just fudge this one and have Michael face Spencer Dineen, even though
Okay.
it's kind of a layup.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to do something else.
I mean, I don't care.
I know we already mentioned not counting Spencer Dineen. You want to just say Michael got the free pass?
I'm going with the hair.
Yeah, we'll say we agreed upon Michael getting a free pass ahead of time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there was a math error.
Yeah, right.
We are going to give Michael Corleone a free pass because he added the experts wrong.
Yeah. Well, we have 11 experts written down, but we got confused because with Spencer Dineen, it's 12, but we thought we were eliminating and making it 10. And, cut all this shit out. This is boring. So Michael Corleone got a free pass to the next round, like it or not.
Yep. So we got Johnny Lufrado made the cut. Coley, Mustafa Speaks. Abdi Ali, Bram Gallagher, Joaquin Gonzalez.
This is like Back for Blood, but for the experts.
Now,
And then, of course, Michael Corleone Blanco, the sixth man making the cut there. So
now we have 5 people here. How do you boys want to do this?
we should have 6, right?
Yeah, with Michael Corleone. Yeah.
Yeah. So we should be able to do 3 matchups of 2 now, actually.
All right. So that makes our matchup. The next one will be Michael Corleone Blanco getting his time to shine against Johnny Lufrado.
That is a brutal one.
It's interesting because Michael Corleone sounds Italian and Johnny Lou is Italian.
Wow. Michael Corleone's literally named after a Godfather character.
That was about the most douchebag matchup I could do to just put the big ones.
I feel like Johnny Lou's got to take it.
At the end, Michael became a meme for us this season. And I feel like with as much as we've really memed Michael, when I went to write down stuff about him, there wasn't as much. Johnny Lufrado, there is too much to write down. Like his whole essence, and it has stood the test of time. Like he's dead, and we're still talking about his performance on Deadliest Warrior. Michael Corleone is either my number 2 or number 3 on the season, probably. But I have to give the vote to Johnny Lufrado.
Oh, ho, ho.
Johnny.
All right, that is locked in. This next one is going to be equally rough.
Who would you have voted for?
I voted for Johnny.
Nice.
This one is going to be the tough one for me too. Coley Mustafa Speaks versus Bram Gallagher.
Oh my God.
Heavy hitters. I have my pick in my head. I will say that.
Gun to my head, I think I'm going to go Coley.
I'm only being able to decide this by looking at the memes. I really thought when we talked about Bram, we were like best expert of the whole season. But as I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking, Coley Mustafa Speaks came up with tactical geniuses. Coley Mustafa Speaks introduced us to the Nim Nim Fierce. I have to give it to Coley Mustafa Speaks.
Mine was Coley.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Gotta give him the vote.
We're not being combative enough. I think we need more.
That's true.
Kind of like an alignment.
Yeah,
Maybe we're uncovering who is the best experts of season 2.
Yeah, I think
Which leaves,
we're
of
doing the hard
course,
research here.
Joaquin Gonzalez versus Abdi Ali.
Joaquin got it.
I'm going for Joaquin, yeah.
Now, this doesn't necessarily represent, I will say, the top 3 experts, because I kind of paired them of people equal to their caliber to break it down to be a little more interesting.
It's the nature of
I like the way we did it because it really did make me think about these guys, actually.
But the top 10 lists and top 3 lists really mean anything on YouTube. There's too many of them.
Right.
So our top 3 experts right now are Johnny Lufrado, Coley Mustafa Speaks, and Joaquin Gonzalez. Is it fair to say that Joaquin is not going to take the
Third
top
place.
spot?
I think so, yeah.
All right, so that whittles us down
we can
to
write
a
him
debate
out.
of Johnny Lufrado versus Coley.
You can't do that.
Who knew it would come to that?
Coley is probably alive, so that's an edge.
That's an edge. Coley is very low key a great warrior. I'm going to vote for Johnny Lufrado. I have Johnny Lufrado written as my number 1. He's just his name. I mean, both of them have great names, actually.
Yeah.
Coley Mustafa Speaks versus Johnny Lufrado.
His name is a sentence.
Let's think about this a little bit. Let's break it down. Johnny Lufrado.
Oh, you said break it down.
Right. memorable in test moment. He gets the stiletto test where he gives the ballistic gel a rat smile. He also does the brass knuckle test where he punches the foam skull. He does like a flying Superman punch in a 3-piece suit. He also gets to shoot the Tommy gun out the window of like the old timey car. And, the test is like faked, I think. Like one bullet hits a mannequin, which is really funny.
But Coley arguably gets credit for the penis weapons. I understand it's a Zonde weapon, but
He does.
Kind of is Coley. Coley kind of owns that,
Sorry, you just made me think of Gordon Jock. The other Sunday
Top expert of season 2.
The funner ones to say Gordon Jock.
You guys are giving me COVID over here. I'm kidding. I had it a few weeks ago. Johnny, you know what I got? Johnny referring to the Zondes as the zombies.
Yeah, I think that because it was about the Zondes, that I think almost gives him the edge.
So here's a problem, though. Johnny's I would argue the most iconic thing about Johnny's episode is the edge stiletto. But Johnny is not the one that delivers that line. The iconic lines of Tactical Geniuses and Nim Nim are delivered by Coley Mustafa Speaks. Like, I know the narrator says Nim Nim at one point, but like Coley is the one that really gets into it on set. He's like, yum, 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 Aztec, come look, you see?
Yeah.
Like, he's getting into character.
I have one final test. This may decide the edge. Okay. So I want you guys in your mind to picture Coley Mustafa Speaks, what he looks like. Okay.
I see what you're doing.
And then after that, I want you to picture Johnny Lufrado,
His little suit.
and what he looks like. I think that might do it for me, at least.
How am I did not put Coley in my top 5, and somehow
He's a sleeper.
I'm sitting here debating about him being the best expert of season 2, low key.
I think he's a really solid second place for me. I'm gonna lock in at Johnny Lufrado.
Lucas, who'd you vote for?
Well, I've had my opinion locked in this whole time.
I'm assuming you voted for Coley. I'm assuming. Come on, you can't give it away last every time.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Because not even the way he delivers the line, because much of my childhood was shaped by you delivering that line.
The Zondes were tactical geniuses.
Up to you, Matt. Ball's in your court.
The ball is in my court, and this is a rough one.
He was actually, going into this episode, he was going to be my number 1 pick anyway.
This might be the most important election of our lifetime, as they say. Coley Mustafa Speaks versus Johnny Lufrado. At the end of the day,
Well, you gotta deliver it as Dorian giving an edge. That's the requirement for being last.
okay. How would Dorian deliver it? Jeff, I can feel Jeff's voice, but Dorian's is kind of like the poopage spilling over.
The poopage.
All right.
It's all in the poopage.
So I'm going to do the best I can as Dorian here. I might disappoint some folks out there. I feel like I just got to do it. Dorian. I see Coley Mustafa Speaks all the time. And if you could get him to a trauma center, he's going to be able to live another 30, 40 years. But this show isn't about living. It's about being dead. And Johnny Lufrado is dead as a doorknob. Edge, Johnny Lufrado. He gets my vote. Gets my
Deadliest
vote.
warrior of season 2, the Mongol best expert, Johnny Lufrado.
Johnny Lufrado.
What a disappointing season.
So we ended with Johnny Lufrado, Coley Mustafa Speaks, and Joaquin Gonzalez as the top 3.
Yeah.
Somehow that feels really right.
Yes,
Even
but
with
you
the
take that
does.
with a grain of salt because I lined everyone up
Yeah. I'd
with
say,
fair matchups.
you know, I like Joaquin being up there. I really don't mind it. You know, Bram was a heavy hitter, and Michael Corleone Blanco was a heavy hitter for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, they easily could have been up, you know, if you're doing like a real... Welcome to the top 5 experts of season 2, brought to you by...
Welcome to watch
Dr. Squatch. So
Welcome to watch
Watch
Z News
Mojo.
top.
yeah, watch Z News.
Hey, watch Xenu.
People have been asking, what are we going to do after the Deadliest Warrior pod? And I think that should be our pivot. We should like sell out and do Watch Mojo top 10.
Top 10 videos coming your way.
Top 10 hottest anime characters.
Top 10 hottest anime characters part 2.
Number 10, the Reigns Rack.
Yeah.
Top 10 deadest experts from Deadliest Warrior. Number 1,
Johnny Lufrado.
He's dead.
And, you know, Rob Roy, since we were giving out awards, we gave an award for best hair, best weapon test, best expert. Rob Roy, I don't necessarily think best expert, but he definitely gets the award for maybe the best, like, moment.
Yeah.
Or the best weapons test of season 2.
Well, whenever we award John Lufrado, we could say Johnny Lou was also nominated for best weapons test.
All right. Well, that is all I have for our season 2 wrap up, guys. Do we have anything more we'd like to say?
Here's to season 3.
Yeah.
10 more beers. 10 more beers.
Yeah, let's wrap up the wrap up.
Okay. Well, guys, make sure to leave some comments below. You know, this
We asked you to leave like 10 different types of comments.
I'm just saying it because this episode's super chill and it's just like, what's your opinion, basically. So I am curious to see what some of our audience thinks. And we'll see you next time. I think next episode we're gonna kick off season 3 with the season 2 Back for Blood special, and so we're gonna have to cook up something special there for that.
Let us know in the comments if this season got you fucked up.
Yeah, if you don't want to write anything else, just let Lucas know that this season got you fucked up. All right. I guess until next time, guys, stay deadly.
Stay deadly.
Stay fucking deadly.